Social Security. There was a report this morning that the cost of living went down 4%. This is the first year since 1975 when the COLA for Social Security passed. The Social Security has dropped, the cost of living has dropped below the previous year. In the 1975, when Congress passed the COLA for Social Security, they held you harmless on any decrease and promised you an increase if cost of living went up. So you're not going to drop by 4%, you're going to stay where you are. So there's going to be no cost of living application to you. It'll be the first time since 1975 that's taken place, but we have actually deflated in our economy by 4%. But you are held harmless from the decrease. As a retiree under Social Security, you only get the increase if there is one. If there isn't one, you are held harmless at your last year's payment level, whatever that was. On Medicare, on your Medicare Part B, your cost increase is only 25% of the actual cost increase. You're held harmless on 75%. Now on illegals. I tell everything about it. The reason illegals are illegal is they're illegal. And it's illegal to pay them things if they don't have a benefit. We have had a system in this country for years of an inability to track Social Security numbers and match them with death certificates and birth certificates to end the stolen Social Security card. That's what we've got to do. We will finish this year digitizing the birth records and the death records of every state in the Union back 70 years and matching it to Social Security numbers. So when I pass away, instantly my death certificate will be matched up against my Social Security number and it'll be purged. Right now you have some people using 10 different individuals using one Social Security number to get through on some kind of falsified document. And some of them, not all, but some are probably slipping through the cracks and getting benefits. Where they're most often getting benefits is under Medicaid when they go to a hospital waiting room, because under the EMPALA laws, the hospital cannot turn them away. They have to be treated. And it is true they're probably getting a benefit there. The second bit of good news about the illegal situation is, and there's no way to know since you don't know who they are, it's hard to tell how many of them there are, but the estimates are the reduction has been 50% over the last 18 months because of the decline in the construction industry, because of the decline in tourism, because of the decline in hospitality. And I have some good news for you. In the last 3 years since the great debate over immigration, illegal immigration, our country has invested a lot of money on the border, and one of the reasons you're seeing the fights down there now, you've been reading about some of them, where people are getting shot, is because the drug cartels, the human traffickers, and those smuggling aliens across the line now have a difficult time doing it. We have erected substantially a lot of the 721-mile wall between America and Mexico, particularly in Arizona and the San Luis area, which was so porous. We now have the same drone aircraft flying over the northern portion of Mexico that we have flying over Afghanistan supporting our troops right now. We now have the capability of seeing them as they're coming across the border and intercepting them with the 10,000 additional people we put on the border. And most important, I wasn't a big fan of Vicente Fox, who was Mexico's last president. But Calderon, who is their current president, has put 5,000 Mexican troops on the border south of the U.S. line to block the immigrants and illegals trying to get in. And America has put a $375 million investment in the land bridge between Central America and Mexico, which is where so many of the Latin American immigrants have come through. When the economy does come back and there's some attractiveness for jobs, you're going to find and you're going to see that they're not going to be able to get in like they used to, and we're beginning to suppress the problem that you exactly mentioned. Thank you for your question, and again, thank you for your service.
Could I also make one comment?
Sure.
This is my personal comment. Tell the government, please leave the CIA alone. They're taking care of them.
Can I comment on that? This morning, I was very troubled to hear Eric Holder's announcement as Attorney General of a criminal investigation into our intelligence agency. Intelligence, by its nature, is a circuitous business. You know from having served in the military, knowing what's on the other side of the hill and how much firepower they got, what they're planning, is essential to being able to win the battlefield. And in the war on terror, when you have people that will do the types of things that were done in this country on 9/11, information is absolutely critical. And it's human intelligence. not just photographic intelligence. If you begin to criminalize intelligence agencies for gathering the data to keep you and your family and me and my family safe, then you're lessening America's protection and you're raising the possibility of us being hit. And I agree with you, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Have you had a chance to talk to President Obama or anybody from the new administration about some of the prevalent concerns?
About some of the what?
The prevalent concerns.
The question I think is, have I had the chance to talk to President Obama or some of the administration on present concerns?
Somebody from the new administration, right?
Yes. In fact, Christine Romer is the chief economic advisor, and I've had dinner 3 times over some of the economic issues we talked about. I was elected to the Senate at the same time President Obama was, and I know him. I have been invited to the White House once for a consulting session. I've been there then. And I spend an awful lot of time as a member of the Veterans Committee working on veterans issues, and I'm closely involved with the White House on veterans issues, everything from clinics to seeing to it our wounded warriors come back, get everything they deserve for the service they gave this country. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Well, first of all, we ought to use those Social Security numbers to strike the voters list as well.
Absolutely. That's another reason we're digitizing it.
But my major point is, we ought to be ashamed of what we're doing to future generations with this public spending we're doing now. Right now, about 14% of the budget is paying interest on the national debt. Well, what happens when it gets to be 40% if we keep doing this ridiculous spending?
Well, the question is about the overspending, and one of the points I made about the health care bill is you can't just add $1.3 trillion to the debt already estimated in 23 trillion in 2019 without having to force inflation that is so rampant it devaluates the value of everything you've got. I was a fledgling representative in the late 1970s when President Carter was elected. And during those years, President Carter greatly expanded government spending, and we hit the wall in 1980. We lessened our expenditure on our military, and we got held hostage by the nation of Iran for 444 days with our embassy people. And our debt and inflation went up. Interest rates were 21% in the last year of that administration. President Reagan came in, empowered the private sector and free enterprise, put in tax incentives for business to come back, and interest rates dropped to where early in the 1990s rates got down 4.5%, and have stayed there. Right now, they're at an all-time low. Basically, the United States government treasuries, 90-day treasuries were selling for 0.17, which basically means people were giving the country their money to hold on to. But that ain't gonna last. And when it goes to 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10%, the multiplier effect on that deficit and how much of the budget ends up going to interest payments ends up literally bankrupting the country. So I spend when I made that statement about my grandchildren, that is my biggest fear. Because if you erode the value of their future, the America that you inherited is not the America we're going to.
You know, when you